So he said to his barber, okay, I want a haircut that makes my head look like it's a nutsack in the middle of winter. And voila, it happened.
And welcome to the Swine Brothers Show, episode 140 for the 19th of March, 2018. You can email us at Cosmicgodsdie at gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers and Twitter is SwineBro666. Shane Mathis, you're still invited to the hangout, which I sent you this morning, but you didn't join because you're a cunt. My name is Elliot Lindemood, and my co-host is...
I am the Jim, the Seeing Eye Mutant.
I did actually invite him, by the way, and he sent me a sarcastic response because he's him. I was going to tell you about the race I was at and have a sort of lighthearted show. Then I came home yesterday and got some pretty abysmal news.
Let's see, abysmal. Would it happen to be this one? Necrophagia vocalist Frank Killjoy Pucc dies past at 48.
Yes, that would be. We were not just because I wanted to interview him for the show, but he's been an inspiration for me and for actually sort of doing what I do with death metal vocals and, you know, just being a horror fan.
Yeah.
He knew his shit. I mean, he had a huge horror collection.
Just 6 years ahead of me.
And he partied hard, too.
Yeah. Necrophagia vocalist Frank Killjoy Pucc has suddenly passed away at the age of 48. Pucc founded the band in 1983 and stuck with them until their breakup in 1987, and then again from 1998 until his untimely passing this year. No cause of death has yet been revealed, and of course we wish Pucc's friends, family, and bandmates all the best at this time.
That means he recorded his first album when he was like 16 years old, and it's a classic of death metal.
Yeah. We're so shocked and saddened to bring you the news of our dear brother Killjoy passing away this morning. We're at a loss for words. R.i.pi, brother. You are forever in our hearts. We will cherish our moments together forever. 1969 to 2018. R.i.pi.
Yeah, his birthday was November.
Yeah.
He was he recorded 2 albums. Only one was released in 87 called Season of the Dead. The other was released a couple years later as Ready for Death. The band broke up. He formed a short-lived thrash metal band called Killjoy, which was actually pretty good, and a sort of death thrash band called Cabal, which is also really good. Phil Anselmo, kind of an unlikely pairing there, got him to reform Necrophagia because he wrote some riffs, and he actually played on their second album, or, well, third album, really, and a couple of EPs. See, that's why I sort of like, not to get off topic, that's sort of why I respect Phil Anselmo more than the other members of Pantera, because he always had an ear for the underground.
Yeah.
And so he got plugged away. He's was in a bunch of other bands, of which most of which I have. I think the one thing I'm missing is a demo that he did, and I don't even know if he's on it. But I have most of what he did with ambient and things like that. So it's really sad. I mean, he was a legend of the underground.
Yeah.
And everyone should play Necrophagia and drink a lot of beer and watch horror.
All right. Let's continue on with actual metal. Why it's important to stop using female-fronted as a metal genre right now. How is that even a genre? Because there's no consistent...
Well, yeah, there has like tags female-fronted metal and things like that. So I always thought it was kind of stupid. But at the same time, I also use it as a sort of descriptor because, let's face it, women in men, I mean, there are a lot of them, but I don't know, it's always cool to see a woman fronting a metal band.
Oh, one that can actually play.
Like a Doria or, yeah. We've already done that.
Yeah, we've done that to hell. When Vince first approached me to do this editorial, I felt such a swell of pride. Here I am, 3 years into my tenure at the Metal Sucks Mansion.
Metal sucks.
And these dweebs are finally learning that if you want an opinion on a woman's issue, ask a fucking woman. Yay.
Wow.
Jokes aside, it's been really nice to watch people learn and grow from the omnipresence discussion surrounding equality and progress. Progress to what?
To our
Uh,
inevitable demise.
oh, yeah, that's what we have to accept. We're going to die. Happening
Yay.
right now across the board and for me and my colleagues in the music industry. Oh, God. All right. With that in mind, it's time to retire the phrase female fronted when discussing bands.
But I mean, I don't know. I find female front. I mean, adore her. How can I mean? Melissa has such an amazing voice. She sounds
I've,
like she's about to go for your throat.
I've waffled back and forth on whether this was a big issue, enough to warrant an entire piece, when so many women have aptly addressed it in Twitter threads and brief Facebook updates.
Well, I'll get more on what the big issues are in a bit.
I just like everything's. It's got to be on Twitter or Facebook to be real.
Only yeah.
But sometimes different perspectives are valuable, and repetition is key. There is only one true way. There is only one true way. There is God. I am a woman, questionable, in
Yeah,
a band myself.
I love when Jim reads women's things. It's, it's disturbing.
So when I found my favorite bands categorized as girl bands, it irritated me. Like it's a negative connotation. Is it a negative connotation? Or are you taking it as a negative connotation? I thought girly things were okay because feminism's okay, not because. You're treating girl bands as a derogatory statement, yet you're being all empowered and progressive. Gotta love it.
Yay.
It's irritated me in the past because it's lazy, reductive, and has absolutely nothing to do with the music I make. Oh, yes, you're finally making a point.
Which is sort of true, actually.
Your tits have absolutely nothing to do with the music you make. Good job.
Unless your tits can play guitar.
Yes, which I might watch that if it was actually played well. I feel like Murderface playing it with his cock, you know.
Ingve Malmsteen, but with tits.
Which is as valid as the music men make and should be treated as such. Gee, really?
You don't
Finally
say.
coming to this, you don't say. The biggest difference I found between my playing and men who play drums is the men doing so haven't been kicked out of multiple bands for refusing to fuck another member.
I was kicked out of a band for doing the wrong kind of drugs. I'm shit you not.
I was kicked out of a band for doing drugs.
No, just the wrong kind. They liked heroin. I didn't.
No, that's sad. Saying no to Craigslist requests from potential bandmates for headshots. Or giving a big fuck you to men who say things like, "Oh, so like you're a hot drummer, huh?"
Well, my drummer, my drummer who's dead. His name was Dave. He was not very hot. He was some short, scarred dude with fucking tattoos all over his.
I've played music since I was 9 years old, so 22 years of hearing my gender come before my ability has worn me down a bit on this topic.
Yeah, I'm the blind guy. Ask me about fucking. And yes, it does get really annoying answering the same questions over and over and over again.
Yellow.
I mean, and then someone's like, "Well, why do you like advertise that you're blind?" I'm like, because if I don't, it's gonna come up anyway, and then just get it out of the way. Yes, I'm blind. Here's how I do things. Move on. You know, it's sort of like,
So why is female Fred so irritating? For starters, it's tone deaf. When communicating anything, the number one rule is to know your audience. Okay?
I know my audience. Josephine sometimes watches, and that's it.
Our audience are complete fucking degenerates and people who wish to point and laugh at degeneracy.
And if you are degenerates or people who point and laugh at degeneracy, leave a comment.
Yes. The excuse I sometimes hear from publicists. I get more open R's on my PR emails when I mention the singer's a woman. Yeah, because those are the politics being pushed. If you. That's why it's important. And now, it's good that you're bashing this. It's very good. But at
Yeah.
the same time, you know, these are the politics you supported, which made it a thing for you and made you so sick and tired of it.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go through life as the blind guy. Okay, everything is, you know, oh, it's a podcast hosted by a blind guy. I'm not. I don't really embrace it. I sort of mockingly do with the whole Blind Kid Plays series. But you know, it's
Well, the whole entire reason I just keep referring to you as the blind kid is because fuck it.
but I'm not gonna shy away from it. You know, whatever.
I mean, really, that's what it's supposed to just be. Just a fuck it nickname. Who cares? You know.
Yeah.
It's the blind kid. Oh, okay. He's talking about that fucking misanthropy bullshit.
And that's the dickhead. No, that's his co-host.
Yeah, I'm a dickhead. I'm more of an asshole. But
I actually knew a guy whose name was Richard Head.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
If this is the truth, and I truly do not think it is, yes, it is the truth.
It is sadly. I know how
it is sadly, and those are the politics being pushed in the corporate industry. You must be gender inclusive, which means fuck men. If it's a woman, we want it. Which is why it's so goddamn important.
Which is why I sort of support in like a really misanthropic way. Not because I support like ultra feminism. It's just I sort of like people who are openly hate men. Just, you know, fuck it.
Just like
go to war.
Period. Yes. Why not be an agent of change? Why not shoot for quality coverage over quantity? By using this excuse to appeal to the lowest and least progressive denominator. No, it's the most progressive denominator. The highest there is. You need to have females in here, or else it needs to be represented by women, or else
quantity over quality. If you do quantity over quality, people will get fired because they're not doing enough.
Yeah.
I mean, the sad part about metal or any sort of journalism, you need to shit out articles. You need to basically shit out articles and reviews and public, press releases and stuff to the point where people it doesn't even matter what they say anymore.
You're using your position to reinforce a culture of stagnation, which, yes, they are, but you still have to recognize that it's most progressive.
Culture of stagnation.
That's what they're shooting for, because that's what the fucking corporate culture is. They want to be progressive.
Culture
Ergo, that's why female fronted is so goddamn important. So you have to be less progressive in order to make it not important and more based on, I don't know, who the fuck can play. I don't care what the hell their genitals are.
Because culture is inherently stagnant.
Yeah. I assure you, if the writers you're pitching are worth a damn, they will want to actually listen to the music, not slap together a scripted review based on their notions of what a woman singing heavy metal should sound like.
I'm sorry. Metal Sucks, or was it Metal Sucks or Metal Injection? Did a because Kerrang! Magazine did a list of the bands from all 50 states. We won't go into it here, but they actually had some good, so like Angel Corpse for one of the states or whatever. Um, and of course but you'd think Metal Injection would be a little more underground than Kerrang, right? Because Kerrang's so Metal for Arizona, Metal Kerrang picked Flotsam and Jetsam, pretty good power thrash band. Metal Injection picked Alice Cooper. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Alice Cooper. I know people are. He's not metal. I mean, he influenced metal, but he's not metal. And they both picked Slipknot for Iowa.
Yeah.
It's like these heavy metal journalists know nothing about the genre. And they don't, and a lot of them don't listen to music. A lot of them just do scripted reviews because they have a lot of reviews to get to. You have quotas that you need to fill, and if you don't fill it, you're fired.
You know how many times we've read like reviews off this very site that you're working for that were slapped together and scripted just because it had a chick on the front, or a chick somewhere in the band, because everything.
All you need to know about a Metal Sucks is they gave Suicide Silence's self-titled album a 5-star review. Now, Suicide Silence is shit enough, okay, with their deathcore. Their self-titled album was rap metal. And they said it was an avant-garde masterpiece, just like Saint Anger. Which was overlong new metal with garbage can snares, which we will review at one point. I had to listen to the goddamn album once.
Oh, God, please! You're gonna.
We will get back into album reviews.
Yeah,
that is something we will do.
This doesn't only work when addressing politically progressive situations either. Even conservative writers should know better than to shit out something lackluster based on generalizations and formulaic analysis.
Yeah, but it's either they don't have time or they just don't know enough. I mean, I'll be honest. Although I know that I will never be, a metal journalist for one of these sites, it honestly does sort of hurt a little bit seeing hacks succeed while I work my ass off for nothing. I mean, it honestly does sort of irk me a little. Sort of, it's like, wow, you call Slipknot metal, and I'm sitting here talking about the history of metal, and I get 5 views.
Yeah.
And then I get depressed and kill someone.
This is an oft-repeated adage that bears endless reminding. Female-fronted is not a genre. We all have preferred genres, so if you're selling me on a death metal band because I like death metal, tell me this is a cool death metal album and it sounds like. And I'll be 10 more times likely to care if I can recognize the thing you're pitching to me is going to be in line with my tastes rather than my gender. Oh, that actually sounds good. Finally.
I agree, but I'll also say, I mean, wow, and they have a woman on vocals, and oh my goat, she's got a good voice.
I just don't care. I'm getting sick and tired of this whole entire gender politic thing. Can't we just go back to, hating the universe?
No, because the universe is a gender or something.
Symphonic power metal bands like Nightwish and Epica seem to bear the brunt of this type of casual sexism in metal. While it's in no way my area of expertise, I'm often perplexed at the folks who praise bands like Sabaton, Camelot, or Stradivarius, but call bands in vaguely similar veins corny.
Well, Nightwish is sort of corny. I mean, I'll even admit to liking them, and whatever, Jim can laugh. I don't give a shit. But Nightwish is sort of corny. I mean, power metal is corny. I mean, it's designed to be big and happy and dumb. And Nightwish is very corny. I like them, but I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to pretend that they're not. I'm not going to pretend that sometimes they don't create a song that I'm like, really?
It's all theatrical and over the top, so thinly veiled sexism that divides fans by calling that type of metal female fronted seems preposterous.
And besides that, I think Nightwish, they're mostly talking about the keyboard player who's like the master of the band, and he's pretty much involved in the whole corn shit. And yeah.
Floor Jansen of Nightwish elaborated on this subject back in 2015 in an interview with Metal National Radio via Blabbermouth. There seems to be sometimes an entire genre called female-fronted metal. Oh, so you're in a female-fronted metal band. Oh, yeah, am I? What on earth does that say? Because then Revamp, Floor's side project, is a female-fronted metal band, and so is Nightwish. But those bands don't sound alike at all. Arch Enemy is a female-fronted band, but so is Delane. They don't sound at all alike.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with the basic premises, because I have seen people say, "Oh, it's a female-fronted metal band," and as if that's supposed to describe how it sounds. But as you know, Jim, we've heard everything from, power metal to black metal is female fronted. So I agree with the general principle of this.
Mm-hmm. I just want to know if it's fucking good. That's all I want to know.
Well, I mean, I like it, but I know you won't. So
the only thing they both are metal bands, but the style in metal is so massively different that it doesn't really say much whether there's a girl singing or not. So it's not really so important. Plus, to emphasize the difference in sex between men and women, I think we've had that time by now.
Well, it's always funny people talk about, oh, you're closed minded because you only like metal, and so I send them Bleak House, which is NWO BHM band, and they're pretty damn rocking, and then I send them Archgoat, and I'm like, and yet they somehow belong in the same sort of broad style.
Yes. Boo-hoo. People are morons. Do you ever refer to bands as male-fronted, or are those just bands to you? Have you been around long? Because I've heard of boy bands, but they're not.
Well, that's different. Yeah, that's different.
To willingly, and they make me vomit. I've talked about the concept of centering in other editorials, and it's important here as well. It's downright disrespectful to keep using language that dismisses women as latecomers to the scene. Wow, something that actually makes sense.
Yeah, Dawson
making sense.
Was doing this before Black Sabbath was a metal band, so yeah.
Uh-huh. We're not just trying on the musician label for fun. We created your fucking music. Women and non-binary people. I don't know why, but I just keep wanting to go.
I don't know, but every time I hear non-binary, it's with 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0.
2. There's a 2 in there somewhere. Oh my god!
I even saw 2. It's okay, Bender. There's no such thing as 2.
People have been making music since the music's been made. Who invented rock and roll and, by extension, heavy metal? None other than Sister Rosetta Tharpe, a black woman from Arkansas who moved to New York City in 1938 and turned music on its head with her Carnegie Hall performance, bleeding gospel with swing to form the foundation of what we know as rock.
Yeah, and she got shit on by Bill Haley because she was black.
Uh-huh. Her 1944 hit, Strange Things Happening, is credited as the first rock and roll song, and she once pulled Little Richard on stage to give what would be his first performance outside of a church.
Okay.
Skip ahead a generation and a whole lot of whitewashing and machismo, and you get Jenks Dawson singing about witchcraft and Satan over progenitive heavy metal with her band Coven.
Thank you.
People tend to credit Black Sabbath's debut as the first metal album, but I've often wondered why it's less frequently mentioned that it came out a full year after the release of Coven's Witchcraft Destroys Minds and Reaps Souls.
I could tell you why, actually. two things. First of all, Charles Manson was seen holding it, and the album was banned. Second of all, what happened was, um, so the label that signed them was, I think it was sort of Philips Records and Vertigo are sort of the same company. I think they're all part of the same sort of brand or whatever. So Philips signed Coven, not realizing that they're actually Satanists, uh, and got freaked out by the fact that they were actually Satanists. So they dropped Coven and put the record out of print. They went looking for another band and sort of molded Black Sabbath into their. This is not the official history of Black Sabbath. This is what really happened. They sort of molded Black Sabbath into the occult image, which Black Sabbath never didn't think they were doing because they were so damn young. And then all of a sudden you have, you know, this new band on Vertigo, and they're all of a sudden all this, you know, occult rock, but they're not actually a cult. Vertigo just wanted something that had the trappings of a cult. So Black Sabbath, not musically but spiritually, was a safe band. They were the you know, not musical, but they were spiritually they were the Marilyn Manson of their time.
Which sounds pretty fucking metal to me, and has a lead track titled Black Sabbath.
Which I do like Sabbath. I'm not shitting on the band. I'm just saying that they were sort of molded. Not that they understood it, but the record, like putting an upside down cross in the inner sleeve or whatever, would, you know, and doing shit like that. So yeah, we want something sort of scary, but not as scary as Coven.
Yeah, we don't want to risk our souls, not till black metal.
Musically, Sabbath were a little more advanced, but yeah.
Moved down the line when popular rock became the bloated corpse of its heyday, and who was right alongside the Ramones and the Sex Pistols at the birth of punk rock? Women, ideologically, musically, and yes, aesthetically. Women were essential to the punk movement.
Well, yeah.
And you know what's funny? Just thinking back a little while, whenever the whole entire Metalgate thing was happening, I remember bumping into this kid that was being told by someone that was supposed to be a metal journalist that women weren't part of it before. And here's a woman saying, yes, we were.
And here's me saying,
from
yes,
the same exact side of the fence, that, like, because the guy was trying to tell him that women weren't part of it before, we need more progress. And here's a woman saying, no, we've always been there, and that's why it is progress. It's like, what? So you're both
also, I know this isn't,
but you're saying two completely different things, even though this is what I've been saying the whole time. They've been around.
Funny stories that I know this isn't, you know, popular culture or whatever, but in the gang I hung out with, it was mostly girls. There were a couple guys, you know, Puke, and oddly enough, I think all the guys are dead except for me, and all the girls escaped with their skins.
Yeah. I give a lot of credit to almost all the punk bands I know even today for recognizing and celebrating this fact. Mainstream rock and metal heads could really learn to take some cues from our three chord comrades when it comes to coughing up praise for the likes of Patti Smith, Susie Sue, Lady Lunch, Chrissy Hind, and countless others.
Yeah, and Lydia Lunch. And oddly enough, I don't like any of those women. They all recorded. I'm not really into sort of first generation punk. I prefer the sort of not necessarily all hardcore, but sort of the 78, 79 punk, but, you know, when it got faster. So yes, all those women, I actually don't like the way what they do. But there's a lot of women in hardcore, and oddly enough, Nazis are. I mean, I guess some are sexist, but there's little sexism in terms of, like, there are a lot of Nazi women bands.
Yeah. In one of our most famous quotes, Kim Gordon of Sonic Youth sums up a very punk attitude about women's role in anti-establishment music. Women make natural anarchists and revolutionaries because they've always been second-class citizens.
Well, that's true for a large part of history. I mean, they couldn't vote until 1920, which is kind of funny.
Kind of having to claw their way up. I mean, who made all the rules in the culture? Men. White male corporate society. So why wouldn't a woman want to rebel against that? And why are you signing up to the white male corporate society? by
Yeah, you're in Sonic
getting on
Youth.
your label. Yeah,
You're not in some band who records 25 copies and doesn't sell them because selling is capitalist.
yeah. No discussion of metal over the last few decades can exclude the inherent ties to the industrial scene, which you
No,
guessed it, owes a lot of work of a non-binary person, Genesis P. Orridge.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I could discredit because industrial metal is not even on my radar. I hate industrial.
Some of it's okay, but
Yeah, well, you fucking try Combi Christ. Fuck you. Well, okay, I like the Electric Hellfire Club.
yeah. Formed in 1976, P. Orridge's band Throbbing Gristle is widely considered to be one of the first industrial bands, alongside contemporaries Cabaret Voltaire,
Yeah,
who
they.
created the term itself with the birth of the label Industrial Records.
I mean, they're bands I try to get into, and I guess I sort of respect them for their sort of avant-garde, like just we don't care attitude. But I don't know. I've never really. I've always liked guitars and bass and drums. I've never been much for, you know, keyboards and.
So you're making such a big deal about like all these things having people in it, but you want to remove the term instead of just saying, you know what, fuck it, I want to listen to music. Okay.
Comedy, it's sort of like what I mean. I hate to bring up NoFX, but sort of like what NoFX says. Yeah, whatever, label me. I don't give a shit.
See, there you go. Women's contributions to metal need no history lesson here. Many writers on this site and others have screamed those names for years because representation matters. Well, that's the entire point of calling it female fronted, because you demand representation instead of looking for good music. And
Yeah, pretty much.
the list of women in bands is longer than I care to type out. Would you look Doro Pesh in the face and tell her Warlock are a girl band?
No, I'd look her in the face and say you're a fucking metal goddess. That's what I'd say. But if I looked anyone in the face, I'd be surprised. So
Do you think Lita Ford's innate shredding abilities should be categorized by her pronoun?
she's not really metal though. She's more hard rock.
Yeah. Nah, it's tied to it. It's tired and boring to keep perpetuating this archaic classification of bands simply by who fronts them or otherwise creates music within.
Well,
Then
this
why
was
do
never
you?
really an issue for me. I mean, yes, I'll say it's female fronted, but that's more because it's like just sort of drawing attention to hey, this person has a an amazing growl, sort of like that. But I've never described Warlock as a girl band or I mean, but then again, you can't really ignore it with bands like Girl School. I mean, their name is fucking the Girl School. What do you expect? I mean, they're great, but I'm just saying, it's sort of hard to ignore because their name is Girl School.
It doesn't seem like a big deal to most men because they don't experience the same otherness the rest of us do. I'm the thing that should not be, bitch. I've had
I'm
a
the blind
baseball
kid.
bat to.
I will
Yeah,
always be the
exactly.
blind guy.
Fuck you. I know what otherness is far greater than you because you got a million guys willing to fucking suck on your little toe just to let you shit on them. Me, I've had to fucking suffer.
Yes, I tried to get rid of the label a long time ago. I would battle anyone who said, "Oh, my blind friend," or "Oh, he's the blind," But finally, I was like, you know what? This is not something I'm going to win ever.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I just keep rubbing it in to let you know you'll never win. You'll never win. You'll
Yeah,
never.
whatever. There's a Titanic baby killer.
Exactly.
You'll
No,
never win that one either.
I never will. Uh, we're monsters. That's all there is to it. We've given up for that battle. Just said, fuck it. I'm embracing it.
Yeah.
He ate my baby. Good. For Satan. That I don't worship. Wait,
I
what?
was never accused of being a baby killer, but I was accused of being a Satanist. Oh, if they could see me now.
Uh-huh. They've always assumed that their place at the head of the table. Uh, uh, Head of what table am I? I was fucking homeless, bitch. There's no fucking possible way I could ever be at the head of any table. I'm scum.
What
I'm lucky to
table?
get table scraps. You fucking. Ugh.
Yeah, what
Ugh.
head? I'm the oddity people invite to parties so they could feel sorry for.
Yeah. And chuckled when others protested as some God-given right. What?
Who's God?
God is dead. 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 God is dead. Dead. Hallelujah.
Yes.
I found myself screaming to be heard.
Give me for change. Oh,
Same here. I scream to be heard and no one listens.
I screamed
And
to
then
be heard.
disaster happens because I didn't listen. It's always fun.
I screamed to be
By,
heard. No one listened. So then I screamed because it's part of a black metal thing, and still no one listened.
by
And
the
then I
most
did,
kind, understanding, and empathetic men in my life about this.
I did a cover of The Number of the Beast, but black metal, and people listened. And then I couldn't talk for the next 3 days.
Hey. A seemingly small issue in a world where larger aggressions happen with stunningly regularity.
Well, yeah. I wonder if
My
yeah,
cock, it bleeds.
yeah.
Mm,
Once you've experienced some of the things we have, you don't tend to sweat the small stuff.
yeah.
Which, yeah.
Oh, God. You're a chick that's seen war, like, up
Yeah.
close and personal, not just like, oh, there was a bomb here and then nothing for years. We're talking, okay, there was a giant fucking fight yesterday and today,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a bunch of people getting raped, so yay.
Yeah, pretty much stuff that would make like you sort of squirm and go,
Oh, God, that's worse than what I saw.
yeah,
God, that's a million times worse than what I saw. And I've been
yeah.
through some shit that people say would make them commit suicide.
And yet you can still laugh.
Mm-hmm. It's important, though, and each time we are quietly reminded of our place in the food chain as secondary.
My place in the
I don't
food chain.
understand whenever people are leaving offerings of food at your feet just to let you piss in their eyeball with acid.
Well, people are leaving offerings at my feet, food offerings, but I think they're mostly poisoned.
Well, the people leaving offerings for me are most definitely bombs. They're trying to kill me.
Well, yeah, but mine are a little more subtle than yours.
Yeah, they just want to hear the boom so that way they're happy.
Do you remember?
Finally
Do you remember Democracy 3? I played it and they killed one person. You played it and they blew up the entire building.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah, you played it and they killed you.
And you played it and all your cabinet got killed.
They took out everyone. It's like, oh, that was great. We pissed off the right people that time.
We got to do Democracy 3 with sound so I can actually hear the gunshot.
I'll have to rig that eventually.
Yeah.
It's a grain of salt in the wounds inflicted by a society stacked against us. You're stacking against yourself.
Society's against me, man.
You want to know why? Because society is against me, because I am the satanic baby killer of Jeanette. And I still clawed my way into getting something. And I keep clawing my way up.
And I'm the blind freak Satanist. And you don't want to date him. He'll corrupt you. Oh, you don't want to befriend him. He'll turn you into a cult. He'll turn you into a follower. I mean, as someone said, I've never met by the time I was 14, I've never met a 14-year-old that came with a fucking warning sticker.
Eventually, the little stings become a heap of pain. No, the little stings you grow numb to. So that way you notice when that fucking giant blade's about to cleave you in half.
Yes. It's a big blade.
And it fucking sucks every time it hits. And it's always followed by the warhammer across the face, leaving your brain skull just crushed, going. Oh.
Yep. And then something re-knits your body just to do it all over again.
Uh-huh. So understanding and adjusting your behavior as men is the only way to undo the decades of dismissal we've experienced. You want the entire world to change just to suit your
But
whims.
I've
It
never.
doesn't work like that.
How would I change my behavior if I've never dismissed women? I mean, that's I'm supposed to change even though I haven't dismissed. God damn, that's heavy.
Yes, you have to change to fulfill every role because someone said you have to change.
Even though I
And
didn't.
I found out, thanks to all the shit I've been through, every time I have changed, it has never been for the better. I tried
No,
lying to myself and it just made my life worse.
I tried that in 2012, and it caused me to go slightly insane for about 2.5 years.
So, for the love of everything fucking holy, you're writing for a metal site and saying, for the love of everything holy. What? This is a metal site. You just got done praising Satanists. But
Yes.
now I'm saying for everything holy. No, it's unholy, miss. Unholy.
Unless you're talking about the band Holy Terror, then you can say holy because they're good. I like Holy Terror. Check them out.
Erase female fronted from your vocabulary and replace it with Jim's balls.
No, I refuse to do either, Jim. Sorry.
You
Oh,
have to change because she said to change, so we're going to replace female fronted with Jim's balls. That's a Jim's balls, man. Oh, God, no. It's worse than what I thought. Please make female fronted a thing again. Oh, God. I don't want
it's
to
funny
be.
because for the first couple of times we talked, you said your name was Jim, and Chucky, the guy who just died, whenever he beat someone, like whenever he would get in a fight and scrap with someone, he would always say, for some reason I could never comprehend, the boots, Jim, the boots. So every time, Jim, the boots, Jim, the boots, what I was thinking of. I have no idea where he got that from or why he said it, but that's what he said.
Well, let's flip the tables here and continue talking about women. White men must confront traitorous women.
Goddamn traitors.
A majority of liberals identify with our enemies on a moral and emotional level.
Morals, the greatest lie ever told.
Which is why they hate us pro-white, pro-Western Christians so much.
Well, yeah. All they satanas, motherfucker.
The invasion of Europe and the Americas by... Wait. The Americas.
The Americas.
By third world others. What?
You know what? After every time, I'm just gonna sing Screwdriver song. I know they're not Christians, but still.
Yeah, but the Americas were invaded by non-white people.
Yeah.
What? Huh?
We, Mother Europe, sons, and we.
Okay, Europe, fine, but Americas. You're including the Americas in that statement.
Which were invaded by white people.
Mm. And now they're being invaded again by non-white people. Because white people think they're white.
Yeah, we gonna like taking our gerbs. No. And the funny thing is, every time people complain about, people complain about immigrants taking their jobs, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I know some people would, but most of the people who complain wouldn't do the jobs that the immigrants do.
Is being aided and abetted by emotionally frustrated white women. Why are they emotionally frustrated? Have you gone to see why they're emotionally frustrated enough to go and say, you know what, I'm going to go fuck me a darkie? There's got to be a reason.
You want to know why I'm emotionally frustrated? Because I see on metal sites people calling Slipknot a metal band. You'd be emotionally frustrated too if you had any sort of aspirations.
Yeah. Not all white women, goddammit. But a significant minority of them. A number of them have opened up their nation's borders and their bedrooms to these invaders. Come across the country so that way you can plow my pussy.
Oh
Yeehaw!
God, this reminds me of the Day of the Rope from the Turner Diaries. Possibly the most vile scene ever, where they strung up all white women who were married or lived with Jews and blacks and people like that with the fucking placard saying, "I defiled my race." It is truly vile, and you have to read the Turner Diaries, Jim.
Oh, God. They want to cuckold us. Really? There must be a reason.
Maybe,
They want...
maybe because you guys are like shit lovers, or maybe because you're too worried about the wide invasion to actually like pay attention to your relationship.
They want to be dominated by the other to spite us. You know, it's not just that. I've met some chicks that are just like, I want you to make me fear you. They want me to literally terrify them
Well,
to the point where they're in tears, and
met
that's
a
what makes them get off.
well. That's not. I mean, I met a woman who dated sort of pro white Christian, and she said basically he was more worried about fucking the immigrants coming over than actually paying attention to the relationship. So she sought sanctuary in someone else who she actually fell in love with.
Yeah, see, there you go. They want to be dominated by the other.
This is
So,
the voice. The voice of Britain. You better believe it.
They want to humiliate us because they feel genuine hatred for us.
I wonder why. I think because you people seem like people that hatred would be a logical answer to.
This must end by any means necessary. Murder Avenue 612. Murder Avenue.
I mean, I've
I
met people
just
like
love that by any means necessary line.
yeah, right. Most sort of alt writers or whatever you want to call them, Nazis, alt whatever. I've known aren't Christians. They're usually some sort of pagan.
Yeah.
Usually they consider Christians to be some sort of Jewish,
Yeah. It's like Hitler vision. Jew.
Hitler vision.
Jew. Not a Jew. Jew.
But I just think it's funny that like it's a Christian thing now.
Acting the whore must be met with every form of effective shunning.
Of course, the question must be asked: how many of these self-righteous people are seeing another woman on this side? My guess is 100%.
Oh, good. You're gonna shun, so that way you get even less sex.
Yes.
Okay. And then you're gonna bitch about why did I get any poontang?
Whoever told you the alt-right was logical?
Oh, no one ever said so.
Okay.
In order to disincentivize this behavior, okay, let me put it to you this way. Cock is in low demand. Pussy is in high demand. Cock is in high supply. Pussy is in low supply. Do you not see how you're just shutting yourself out further because there's a lot more cock to taste from the fucking pool?
Well, I could also put it to you this way. How about you, like, stop worrying about the invasion of the Yellow Menace and start, like, actually caring and, actually putting some fucking weight into the relationship? That might actually...
White men must hold the white women to a standard of anti-miscegenation. Miscegenation.
You know, the funny thing is I have literal Nazis on my friend list, like literal neo-Nazis. None of them have said anything about me dating a black girl. I mean, no, they've seen her, they've met her. No one said a damn word. It's hilarious.
Oh, fuck. You know, whenever I was with my ex-wife, I got a lot of fucking he's stealing our women and shit from like black people, but the fucking neo-Nazis I debated throughout most of the 90s were like, well, he never claimed to be one of us. Who cares?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
figured he was going to do something
I've
like
never gotten anything from dating a woman who's older than me, or dating. It's funny. I mean, pretty much the people
they called some of the other kids that used to flirt with the whole National Socialist bullshit. They'd sit there and wear this shit. They called them race traitors for going out and fucking a white Jew.
Yeah.
Okay, but they never once called me one because I never pretended to be part of their group.
Well, exactly. I think our thing is sort of live and let live. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'll debate them, but I'm not. If the only way to talk to me is divorce your beliefs or whatever.
Yeah,
shit. It's just sort of funny. And they're all nice to her.
And the funny part was it was me marrying her that was the death knell, and them being neo-Nazis. So they're like, Jim's not shunning us.
I still love the story of the guy with Nazi tattoos going to your marriage, going to your court wedding or whatever.
And the look between him and the judge is like, what the fuck are you doing here? And his look was like, I don't know. But he was there for me. And he was fine with me hitching with my ex-wife. And
great story.
And the funny part was Bob. Bob came back from the military and he was there and he's like, I'm Uncle Bob. My daughter was like, no, you're just Bob. This is after he had heard her call the guy with Nazi tattoos uncle. So he's treating her well enough to earn the respect to be called uncle, but this guy just showed up, and just because he's old friend, he's demanding to be called uncle, and she's like, no, you're just Bob.
I like that.
Ethnic patriotism and sexual fidelity. It must be completely unacceptable for white women to act like thoughts. And I finally found out what that meant.
God, I hate that word. There. I hate that fucking expression.
For the longest time, I thought it was just another generic term for a hot chick, but here it actually means that hoe over there.
Why don't they just say whores? Why do they have that? Why don't they just or sluts?
And here's the funniest part. This is part of that ethnic slang that ain't white. So why the hell are you?
Yeah, exactly. Fucking idiots. It's retarded. Ethnic patriotism. I'm stuck in ethnic patriotism here.
You gotta be white in order to be American, even though American was something else before we came here and invaded the place. And now it's been invaded again by people that aren't white. So we just gotta make certain to always push the non-white people out in the reservations somewhere in the middle of the ocean.
See, you already know about my Pomo Indian friend Jenny Thompson. She has an authentic scalping knife, and she said, well, why don't I threaten a few of these alt-right people with the scalping knife and see how see what the rhetoric is after that.
The same rhetoric. It won't change because it just validates them. What would really fuck with them is if they got their dick sucked by a million black women.
Or if
and it was the best blowjob they ever had.
Wait. They get their dicks and as they're getting they get scalped. I'm feeling great. Oh no, I know I'm not. Oh, sort of pleasure and pain, sort of climaxes die, sort of thing.
Yes, that's a way to go. We pro-white men should make the women in our orbits. What? They're now orbiting you. The white women are orbiting, going boop, boop, boop.
What other men? I'm not that fat.
You just ejected them straight into space, fucker.
I'm not that fat. Jesus Christ.
We should make the women in our orbits afraid to break ranks with us for the consequences of their action.
So you're basically saying beat the shit out of them. Oh, fantastic. Moral values.
Either that or just, I don't know if it's beat the shit out of them or just, as they say, shun them. So you're going to address the fact you're not getting enough pussy by denying chicks the cock. I don't understand this logic. I'm not getting enough pussy, so I'm going to fucking
I
abstain from
understand the
fucking
logic,
chicks.
but I
They gave me
understand how
pussy.
it can fail too easily.
Yeah, that just makes you the old hermit. Not just the logical consequences of their actions, such as suffering from disproportionate levels of domestic violence, sexual assault and harassment, sexually transmitted disease, illegitimate births, single motherhood, and the absence of a male provider.
Wow, that's not racist at all. Carry on. That's unbelievably not racist.
You know, Dave Chappelle made a joke like that. So I guess he's one of them good ones, right?
Yeah, well, I never found Dave Chappelle funny anyway.
Those are all normal, ordinary outcomes for women who mate with non-white males. They're norms for a promiscuous society, but not really
I don't
just
know if the
one
phrase is.
color. Because I've seen plenty of chicks that have fucking kids with 5 boys that are all white. And I tell you what.
Yeah, you go to the trailer park in Arkansas and fucking you see how white people. I quit. I give up.
We need to do nothing to enforce those consequences. The non-white men do that themselves.
I'm not even gonna comment.
This is like what happens whenever the chick's a complete slut and has one night stands out the ass, unprotected, doesn't give a shit, and just gets knocked up constantly. This is not a consequence of just going out and staying with someone that. Do you realize how many years it's been since I encountered this argument? And I came up with the same conclusion. You're going to complain about not getting enough pussy and protest against it by not feeling out the cock.
Do you realize how many
less pussy?
Do you realize how many days it's been since I encountered this argument?
Oh,
about 3.
And we must go further. White women are not like these open traders. Most white women aren't, anyway. However, most white women are functionally feminist.
It's sort of an odd fact, but with the exception of one, every white woman I dated cheated on me.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not saying is racial. I'm just saying it's just sort of a fact.
In order to be respected as men of action by any white woman, by any white women, we must take action. We must stop being passive. In order to instill our own psyches the urge to act on our own initiative, we must take action without regard for how other folks see it.
You know, Jim, I know a guy who does celebrity impressions, and I'm about to follow his lead into my Kurt Cobain impression. Just got to read this for a few more minutes.
We're about halfway through. In order to give white women a proper respect for their own menfolk, we must act like those worthy of respect. Okay, you haven't so far, but okay.
You've acted well.
Infantile.
No, that's offensive to infants.
Yeah.
Come on, baby Jenny fuck wouldn't act like that.
Exactly, and she crawls out of the cage and goes outside.
What are you looking at, Calamity Jane?
Not just by being morally good, mind you.
What the fuck is moral?
We've mastered that skill set for centuries and are drowning it in our own era.
What the hell? Morals are relative, not universal.
They're relative to what culture you're in, and God,
or relative to who you are.
yeah, which is fine tuning it further, but people don't grasp that concept.
I mean, my morality is probably different than yours, in that I'm probably slightly more corrupt.
We must act like those worthy of respect because we are good, but also because we destroy those who mar our personal and collective honor.
You are worthy of utter contempt, and that's coming from the contempt. That's coming from the misanthropic people who are usually the ones looked down upon in every culture ever.
Yep.
Even we hate you.
We must have a culture shift in expectations between white men and white women. Like I say, you just need a black chick to give you the blowjob
What
of
if we
your
just kill
life.
all white people?
That's been tried.
Can it be tried again, please? I
No.
mean, it's funny because people are like, you know you'll die if that. I was like, fuck it, I'll go down laughing.
This is basic red pill theory. It's more like a red suppository theory, but okay.
Oh, red communism.
Yep, commies. You're all commies.
I actually got someone to abandon their fucking the red pill thing because I said red means communist. Oh, I don't agree with that anymore.
Yep.
It's like, what the fuck?
Cultivating this mindset means thinking more of our own desires than the needs or feelings of the white women in our lives. So, in other words, more bitching, less fucking, less paying attention,
More
less dating.
selfishness. More selfishness.
God, I took Danima down on a date because that was a day that she could go out for a little bit. And she went home and sucked her husband off. The end.
It probably messaged me with something about serial killers
Something about serial killers. There we go.
because she does that a lot, which is fun.
Yes, it is. It's awesome. I take it as a given that the desires we are to serve are godly.
Fuck God.
It is counterintuitive for Christian men to ignore or steamroll over the feelings of others, but I think we've gotten so passive and accustomed to acquiescing to their wishes that we've mistaken the command to love one another for the lie that the only path to virtue is through martyrdom.
I agree.
If only.
The
Just
only
martyr
parts of
yourself.
line up,
You
everyone, line up.
Yeah, I know a few good cliffs. They got a place here called the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania. You can just walk
Well,
straight.
Jenny could just sharpen her scalping knife.
Uh,
She wouldn't mind.
in a male-female context, this takes the form of white knighting and or cuckoldry. Da 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 da. I just love that term, Jewry.
Which the first time I heard cuck, I thought it was meant something else. I thought it
That's
was I thought it was an internet form of.
first time I heard it. I thought it was like a guy in a chicken suit. And then I clicked on the links to the porn. I'm like, oh, so there's just two normal porn.
Actually, I'm sorry.
There's a guy in the corner
The
watching.
first time I saw the word keck, I thought it meant something else. And I thought, oh, you're just trying to not get, Facebook censored or whatever.
In an inter-ethnic context, this takes the form of neoconservatism, open borders, mass immigration, civic nationalism, and white genocide. You realize you're spending time. See, I understand the concept of white genocide. We're not reproducing enough, but you're spending time writing this article instead of making white babies.
Yeah, but who the fuck cares? People are people.
Human genocide will occur. The entire species gone. Enjoy.
It's always funny when people talk about, well, is it like So somebody compared like white people and black people to dogs and cats. I'm like, you realize you're comparing different colors to different species. It would be more like a black dog and a white dog,
I mean, more like a Doberman and a Chihuahua.
which probably couldn't have babies.
And it depends upon who fucks who. I don't know.
Well, no, it would be like a Doberman and a Chihuahua, or like a Doberman and a Golden Retriever, or whatever, rather than a dog or a cat. I mean, it's not equivocal.
Yeah, there's all kinds of fucked up mutts out there. Enjoy. I like them.
Good.
They're usually the better dogs anyway.
Well, yeah, my German Shepherd Husky's awesome, except for he sheds a lot. He's a sheddy little shit.
It is easy to let yourself be pushed around by those under your leadership when society shames you for asserting yourself over them.
So basically,
I am your lord and master, but please don't treat me mean. What? And rewards you for acquiescing to their whims.
By that you mean not be a racist.
We need not descend to the level of the black community in terms of domestic violence.
I mean, yeah, I was telling you some stories. I mean, Jim, yeah, I was telling you some stories, but that's not skin color. It's just people being dicks.
And I'm not advocating that. Funny, this entire article has been treading very close to just say beat the shit out of them.
Yes, actually, it's people don't. People are so fucking in tune with their own bullshit. They don't understand how creepy they sound.
Mm-hmm. But when white men want to do a wise thing and the girl in question wants to do something unwise, the man should utilize his verbal and contextual resources to shut it down. This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for fighting. This is for fun. This means different things depending upon the situation, but always is the manifestation of simple gender dynamics a la communist pill theory. Look, a stern word, a cocky remark, ignoring her wishes and moving on as if she never said anything, etc. Man leads, woman follows. The universe enjoys harmony.
Yeah, bullshit. If you actually saw Allison, who basically took me in as a little kid thinking he might be something someday, but right now he's dog shit. I'm going to teach him a lesson. And it was fun.
And then your mind was destroyed and remade in the image of Titicaca.
Yeah, pretty much. She did pretty much destroy my mind. And you know, I'm very thankful for that because I was an idiot. I thought Slipknot was metal. Let's put it that way.
Oh, God. I know that feeling.
Yeah, I know you do.
Just as good times create weak men, so why are you trying to make good times? If you don't want weakness, you should have miserable times where you're living under tyrannical rule and there's nothing but race traitors everywhere.
Yes, basically I should rule the world, is what you're saying?
Or I should. No, wait, you should rule the world because I am God. There we go.
Yes, and you gave me the world and then took it back and then gave it to me again.
After I bathed it in fire.
Here's the world.
Back. Here you go, crickets. Ash. Thanks, Jim.
Dickhead.
We must take it upon ourselves to become strong men, or else be culled from the herd when hard times thrust themselves upon us. You're calling yourself as is.
As you should be.
Well-intentioned passivity, cowardice, and cuckoldry. Jewelry. I love that word, jewelry.
Yay, jewelry.
Have been drummed into us for generations. We must drum initiative and fearlessness into ourselves for the next several generations to restore our people to that level of masculine energy that made Western civilization possible.
Kill the Indians! Kill the Indians!
What we need is another war. War is all we know.
They say war is the all. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as Otis Runga said, when I said I love war, I lied. It fucking sucks on the losing side.
Male self-assertion and male exclusion of feminist, traitorous women will result in the breeding of a fearless people.
Yeah, so you want women? I'm not anti-feminist. I'm anti the crazy people. But so you want women to be sex bots.
So, in other words, you want to fuck the chick that wrote the last article we were reading. Okay.
Well, no, she said she doesn't want to fuck people.
If self-hating and feminist white people have no sexual partners available but non-whites or lesbians, they will simply breed themselves out. But you believe in white genocide, which is...
This is retarded.
Okay, how are they breeding themselves out if they're outbreeding you?
Well, because no. So what will happen?
To your own hypothesis, that's
what will happen is the cheating women will be forced to not cheat and be the property of one white man, and so the women who don't want white men will be left with non-white men, and basically the theory here is that most white women will do what the white man says, and so outbreed the mixed race people, and then the others will be left lesbians, because apparently being gay is a choice, according to them.
And you know what? This all just sounds like what's going to happen is that all the chicks are going to now be knocked up by me, and then I'll bring in a generation of Jim children, which will then inbreed themselves into extinction. Because that's all that's left is
sort of like what we were talking, my girlfriend and I, and about just not seriously, but having kids. I was like, but do you really want a generation of me? Do you really want a future me? So what's your favorite color, Ellie Jr.? The red of blood.
Oh my God, you're eating the nanny.
He's only 3 years old. We didn't know his baby teeth are sharp. Oh my God, you're eating the kindergarten teacher.
The only white women left in a generation or two will be those who maintain the standards which non-self-hating white men expect of them.
Yeah, because what'll happen
you dictate that's what's going to happen now.
Because what'll happen, Jim, is they'll all be mixed race, and mixed race people don't count. They're only talking about so yes, a generation of white women will breed themselves out of the fucking being white, because their children will be all mixed race. That's what they're talking about, because people.
White men who hate themselves will disappear due to a lack of breeding options, miscegenation, self-annihilation, and violence and poverty at the hands of non-whites.
Yeah, lack of dating options. Who am I dating right now? I forget.
I could have a shit ton of dating options where I just felt like taking them, but most of these bitches are too dumb, so fuck it.
Well, yeah, that's I waited, and now I'm happy.
Good. If many individual white men habitually assert themselves, the cumulative effect will be noticeable. If this strategy takes root, over time we can reform our people and avoid white genocide.
Okay, I'm going to assert myself. You're a moron.
Yeah. At a minimum, the individual white man's life will transform for the better. No longer a pushover, he will be the captain of his own ship and become innately more powerful and attractive to potential friends, mates, and employers.
Why would I want to be attracted to friends?
I know.
As far as mate, she's willing to accept my fat ass.
We must escape the nice guy's mindset. Oh, God.
When was I ever a See, that's the thing is, every nice guy I've ever met is a dick who thinks he's Mr. Nice. And it's funny because people are like, how come all the dicks get girls? It's like, it's not that we're dicks, it's that we're actually nice people who are nice to people we respect. And people see that. Whereas you try to be all nice and, but you're
It's a
actually self
hollow,
serving.
shallow
And
thing. Yep.
yeah.
We must be hard ourselves and hard on feminists, traitors, white women, if we want a future that is not impossibly hard for our children to survive.
Why would it be hard for our children to survive? It's fucking stupid racists.
I recall seeing some news stories and movies based on same where some white American women had married Middle Eastern Muslims and had one or more children with them. Then at some point he abandoned his wife and took children with him back home to his dirt hole, awful excuse of a country, unwilling to let his wife have the children back or even see them.
Because it's a movie, it must be true.
Yeah, it must be true.
And it's funny because dirt hole, it's like, well, I don't know. Some of those countries are pretty down. I mean, as far as cars and shit.
Yeah, there are your shitholes, and there's shitholes here in America too.
Yes, they're called Pittsburgh and Detroit and Long Beach.
Man who took LSD tased in Harrisburg.
Yes, I really enjoy sharing things from Pennsylvania and then asking if this was Jim.
Yeah.
And the best part is, as he says, I can't see the guy, so it's not like I can compare. It's Pennsylvania. Let's be Jim.
Harrisburg police tased a man on LSD after they said he charged at them and resisted arrest.
What? Why did you do that?
Police say Kayshawn Ward Cooks, 20, was found hitting the passenger side of a SUV in which a woman sat in the 1500 block of State Street at 1:08 a.m. Monday.
I'm going to hit. Why was she sitting in a car at 1:08 a.m.? I'm going to hit this passenger seat. Boom, boom, boom.
It's the last goblins of Zuckerberg. They have come from planet Zorkon.
Is that what you said when you were high?
Maybe. When he charged at police, he was tased and continued. And when he continued to resist, he was placed in leg irons, police said. Cooks told police he had used LSD that day.
And he kept on ranting about Planet Zorkon. I haven't used LSD that day. Blah, Planet Zorkon.
A man who said he tried to earlier assist a woman in the vehicle told police Cooks struck his windshield with an object, causing cracks the size of a basketball.
Zorkon basketballs.
Cooks was taken to the hospital after this incident and was then charged for resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, criminal mischief, and public drunkenness.
Fortunately, when he woke up, his brains were fried, and all he could say was Zorkon. That's going to be a thing in Pathfinder if someone does too many drugs.
He was placed in Dauphin County Prison.
Dolphin County?
Dauphin.
Oh, Dolphin. I think he said Dolphin. I was like, Dolphin County? What's there to be a Dolphin County?
In lieu of a $10,000 bond.
Oh, what a Dolphin County. There probably is, too.
There probably is. We need to take a break. Because Muslims should support Satanists, and here's why.
Oh, I didn't know you. Okay, yeah, okay, here we go. Satanist. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha.
Following Catholic uproar, a proposed satanic mass at Harvard has been canceled. The mass was going to be put on by the Satanic Temple, the group who has plans for a plant to plant a Baphomet figure on the front lawn of the Oklahoma State's house.
By the way, if you're wondering, edgy atheists.
Yeah. Despite the fact that the Harvard Extension School's Cultural Studies Club dropped its sponsorship, the group still manages to have an unsanctioned black mass at Harvard Square's Hong Kong restaurant and lounge.
I must say they're using two words. A satanic mass is what the LaVey crowd does. A black mass is more the theistic. So they actually did a satanic mass, which is sort of a let's it's sort of a let's dress up in spooky costumes and parade around pretending we believe in Satan, but we really don't. We just like to use him to scare Christians.
Yep. What bothers me most about the official quashing of the edgy atheist temple's mass by Harvard is that it's being hailed as a victory for religious tolerance. It's not. Instead, it's a case of a small group getting bullied into submission because it offended a big religion.
Which it is, and I think they should be allowed to do whatever they want. I just think I should be allowed to throw fireworks at them.
And mock them.
Yes, but can we throw fireworks first?
Maybe. As long as it's at their crotch.
Oh, I was going to say their head, but okay. Oh, my nut's on fire.
My balls are on fire. Ah, help.
God, I mean, M80's hurt. So, yeah. Just think about lobbing an M80 at their crotch.
In an editorial at Harvard Crimson, Francis X. Clooney, Harvard professor and director of its Center for the Study of World Religions, expresses concern at what he calls this proposed disconcerting incident.
Disconcerting.
He presents the elements in the edgy atheist ritual that invert the blaspheme Catholic sacraments as a potential slippery slope, asking who's next. The endeavor to learn and experience the history of different cultural practices might, in another year, lead to historical reenactments of anti-Semitic or racist ceremonies, or parodies that trivialize Native American heritage, or other revivals of cultural and religious insult. So,
yeah, right.
You never just point and laugh at the bastards like we did at that very last article.
Yeah, but they don't want to. The punks actually got mad at me for saying I point and laugh because either they thought I was like condoning them or I wasn't doing it. They're like, "Do you think Nazism is funny?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I think it's hilarious because they're fucking idiots." And they're like, "You should be taken to the streets." They're like fighting them. It's like, why? They're just gonna promote. I mean, if you point and laugh at them, it's like, oh, we're being made fun of here.
Now, if you point and laugh at them, other people point and laugh. If you take the streets and fight against them, guess what? The people will start supporting them because now they have martyrs.
Yes, but punks don't understand. And then they claim that I don't know if people suffer, and don't know the minority, the other races suffering, and then I just get pissed off because I know things they don't know that would make their skin crawl.
Clooney's nightmare scenario ignores one important question, that of institutional privilege.
Oh God! Here we go. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, while racism is an oppressor's power play that always moves from the top down, edgy atheism critiques target immeasurably more powerful than itself. Kind of true, yeah. For Catholics at Harvard to complain about edgy atheists offending them is like white people complaining about Louis Franker's reverse racism.
Whatever.
In addition to his positions at Harvard, Clooney is also a Catholic priest.
Well, of course he's going to get offended, you morons.
Look, you want rid of him, you send a few altar boys his way.
Or you want rid of him?
Take care of itself.
Or, well, you want rid of him? Just kill him.
That would be what, a Satanist does, not an edgy atheist.
Yes, but well, I mean, actually, I knew someone who worked in a Catholic school, and she said that it wasn't so much the altar boys that the Catholic priests were fucking. It was the nuns.
See, send a few nuns his way. It'll be fine.
And she said she quit after the third 70-year-old man whipped out his junk at her.
Huh. The
It's like
third.
the third.
Stayed there for the first two.
Well, for the first two, she was like, okay, she was like, okay, pray to God or whatever. And then finally, the third's like, you know what, I'm done. And then she became a Satanist. Odd.
Mhm. There was a time when Catholics were persecuted, reviled, and marked as the definitive un-American religion. Yeah, have you read the Chick Tracts? I love that shit.
Death cookie.
Death cookie. Yum.
Yum for the whole family.
Mhm. Within the developing field of religious studies, the privileged position of liberal 19th century Protestantism as real religion in its most evolved form also led to unfair anti-Catholic prejudice within the academy. Catholicism has struggled in the United States for recognition both as authentically Christian and authentically American.
Yes, well, then they still. I mean, yeah, I was reading about Christians thinking that Catholics were holding like nuns in bondage and fucking pimping them out, which I'm guessing is true. I mean, the corruption surrounding the Catholic Church is pretty much unrivaled. I think because they're the it's the only religion where you have to, I mean, even like Christians, the preachers can get married and shit.
Yep. Think of all them years of sexual frustration.
Oh yeah, well, but I mean, the priests and the nuns, and if
Yeah.
you can't do a nun, do an altar boy, and just have him, sob into his pillow.
Mhm. Times have changed, so I'd like to tell Dr. Clooney how the American religious landscape looks in 2014. Dr. Clooney, I am a Muslim. As a Muslim in the cliche context of post 9/11 America, I encounter anti-Muslim discourses that use the same arguments that you have employed against the edgy atheists.
The funny thing is, I didn't get any shit. I mean, I barely got any words from what it was an atheist. It was just like, oh, he's an atheist. As soon as it started, actually, because I mean, I believed a little bit before I announced it because I didn't want to make it public until I actually like had a grasp on it.
Mhm.
The whole Satan thing. And then when I got so much more shit for being a Satanist than I ever was an atheist. People just thought, oh, atheist, oh, you're just non-believer or whatever.
In more than one American city, gymophobes have opposed the establishment of gym buildings by claiming
Now,
that women
don't.
are intolerant and incapable of coexisting with other communities, or even that gymism is not a real religion and therefore cannot be entitled to the same defense of its freedoms.
I'll say this: 3 weeks from the same root.
Mm-hmm. In the case of the so-called Jim Memorial Building of Latter-day Fuck It All, people argued against the presence of a gymist community simply on the basis that it would hurt their feelings.
I remember that. I remember that being actually a like a big issue, and I just remember going, "Who cares?"
Yeah. As a Muslim, I have to support the edgy atheists.
Well, good for you. I don't support them, and it's funny because I got into a spat with the Church of Satan on Twitter because because you're not allowed to call yourself a Satanist because you're not a real Satanist. Only we're the real Satanists. It's like, holy shit, really? Are you really saying this?
You don't even worship Satan. You're calling yourself the only real Satanist. So
Well, we're the only legally recognized. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do what the fucking what the fucking legal, I'm not an organized It's not like I attend the Church of the Anti-Cosmic Satanist.
Public revulsion of Muslims in this country is so popular that I have no choice but to stand with religions that are marked as ugly, offensive, and intolerant.
Really? So you're going to? Okay, fine, Mr. Muslim. Will you side with the anti-cosmic Satanism who wants to destroy your religion?
And all existence.
Yeah, in all existence.
Rather than join the anti-edgy atheist outrage and try to convince the Christians that Muslims deserve to be included as children of Abraham or whatever, I would suggest that Muslims take a radical stand on the behalf of religious freedoms that we claim for ourselves.
Yeah, but usually radical Muslims strap C4 to. Never mind.
The people who wish to insult Muslims are not members of ridiculed fringe groups. They are not.
Really. So Jim, apparently I've never. I mean, I insult. Okay. Granted, I'm not anti-Muslim. I'm anti-Islam, and that I don't hate Muslims. I have a friend who's Muslim, and I have friends who are Muslims. They're fine, but I will mercilessly mock their beliefs.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think their beliefs are retarded. But whatever. If you want to believe it, fine. Just be ready for the 11-headed dragon of chaos to destroy your god and all the universe.
They are not just isolated Quran burning pastors, but extraordinarily well funded and networked activists.
I burned the Quran once. What the fuck are you gonna do about it? I've burned every holy book.
Islamophobia is so mainstream that as Muslims we must support freedom for all marginalized religions because too many people have marginalized us. I can actually agree with that sentiment.
Well, yeah.
You're almost on something.
Well, yeah, but I just think it's sort of the enemy is my enemy is my friend. I mean, I don't have anything against people practicing, the religion. It's weird that you want to side with me in that my belief system has being destroyed along with the entire universe.
Yes. I have no doubt that in his commitment to religious pluralism and interfaith understanding, Clooney supports the inclusion of Muslims as full participants in American life. His work in comparative theology, which focuses on dialogue between Catholicism and Hinduism, reveals great insight as to how we can be enriched by traditions that are not our own. Unfortunately, the projects of interfaith dialogue tend to privilege old religions over new ones, and big ones over small ones.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, anti-cosmic Satanism takes a little bit from Hinduism and things like that. Not as certain, not as like taking, I'm going to borrow, but sort of like, Kali and things like that, taken from Hinduism as sort of, this is what they were called in this religion. This is what they were called in that religion. It's really interesting if you read about anti-cosmic Satanism, sort of I don't want to say mishmash, but it's definitely diverse, taking from different strains of thought. Let's put it that way.
In his treatment of the edgy atheist mass, Clooney is playing an authenticity game in which privileged religions get to name the terms by which something counts as religion, and respect for the sacred thus means respecting what the privileged religions mark as sacred.
Well, yeah, that's how the world works here, but I don't care about respect because I know I'm not going to get it, so what's the point?
I have seen this game played with destructive consequences for the 5%er community.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's sort of like I'm never going to get respect as an anti-cosmic Satanist, but I'm still going to believe what I believe.
In the U.S. prisons, 5%ers have been historically denied the freedoms of conscience and assembly that are routinely protected for adherence to other traditions. Worth bin Muhammad, one of the most important Sunni leaders in American Muslim history, endorsed the prison industry's characterization of 5%ers as dangerous and corrupt.
My heart bleeds for you.
Incarcerated 5%ers have been thrown into solitary confinement for no other reason than personal conviction. What the fuck is a 5%er?
Muslim.
Oh, okay. Outside the prison system, 5%ers have been occasionally denied the right to change their legal names to Allah.
Well,
With at least one judge stating that for a man to name himself Allah is inappropriate and even blasphemous.
Well, it is fucking stupid. I was reading a book, and this guy was in sort of juvenile detention or whatever, and he went to, those whole scared straight prison things.
Yeah.
He went to a scared straight thing, and there was some black guy who was one of like the Muslim Brotherhood or Nation of Islam guys, and this black guy comes up to him. What's your name? And he tries to give him his Muslim name. Rishad. You fucking name me Rishad. What the fuck's your name? He's like beat the shit out of him. and he is like, what? Hey, Rashid, over here. You know what Rashid's gonna do? He go rape your little black ass. It's fucking awesome. It's like, and it's funny because I guess at the end of the day, this guy was talking about I could have kicked his ass if I wanted to, and the guy telling the story, John Joseph of the Cro-Mags, looks over and he goes, hey big man, you still got some Rashid spit on your face.
For both Clooney and Faust, Catholicism's dignity must be protected because Catholics have a place at Harvard, while edgy atheism gets casually reviled because, of course, edgy atheists have no place.
Well, I mean, I never cared about being accepted. I mean, maybe once when I was 18, maybe I should go straight, but that was at a very dark place in my life. After that, I never really cared about being accepted because it's just fine. You know what? Because I don't try consciously, but everything I do seems to be opposed to mainstream thought. It's not something I do consciously, but it happens. Why not embrace it?
What Clooney and Faust miss is that some of us find claims of Jesus Christ as the only means of salvation from eternal torture to be incredibly offensive. Fuck you.
I don't find it offensive. I just find it laughable.
You want to know something that's offensive? Hold on a second. It's going to come out of my ass straight into your lungs.
You want to know something that's offensive? Lisa by Jack Chick.
Oh, God. That was bad. Oh, God.
I tried to get Scott to read it, but he stopped after a while. And I was like, he's like, it doesn't offend me. It's just stupid. It's like, well, yeah, you read like the first panel.
Yeah. Any tradition whose advocates promise to be exclusive possessors of the capital T truth is going to bother someone. Should all religious discourse that claims to be supreme truth-making power over other religions disappear from the public? I get that Harvard Divinity School's preferred religiosity tends to go soft in this regard. At Div School, folks don't go much for the hellfire talk. Maybe there's a Div School version of edgy atheism that Clooney could go for. Or not.
It's called LaVeyan Satanism.
Or not, but who cares? Clooney's personal taste does not provide the measurement of edgy atheism's legitimacy.
Yes, mine does, actually.
It would be
fucking.
Yeah, you actually worship something good.
Wow. Worship is sort of a simple word, but yes.
Yes, I know. It's. It would be great if religions can always play nice.
No, it wouldn't.
No war?
Oh, wars? I like war. War's fun. I hate the band war, but that's another story.
When they can't, I am less concerned with edgy atheism's alleged power to make Harvard unsafe for Catholics than the problem of big and powerful religions enforcing their privilege by stomping on small and powerless ones. Your
Hey, we
balls are
have
getting
fucking
stomped.
power. I told you fucking. I don't know if it's coincidence, but I told you about some of the effects of some of our rituals,
Yes, that sounded glorious.
and I still wonder about that. I
Good.
mean, it may have just been coincidence, but damn, that's a fucked up coincidence.
Make me rich. Or
No,
at
I
least
can
have
no,
some
but
sort of money.
no, but I can kill you.
That's no fun.
Well, I'm not gonna do anything good. What the fuck?
Yes, but it's greed.
Yes, true.
This is where Clooney gets it wrong in a big way. There has never been, and I'm guessing that there never will be, any openly self-identified edgy atheist with Clooney's institutional power at Harvard.
Well,
Because I
I
care
didn't
about
graduate high school, so I'm fucked.
because I care about religious freedom not only for the center but also for the margins. Count this Muslim with the edgy atheists.
Good for you. I don't like you. It's not because you're Muslim. It's just you seem a bit of a self-righteous twat.
Yes.
And by the way, Mr. Muslim, I ate a ham sandwich today. It was good. You should try it sometime.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's funny because
Bacon is fucking awesome.
Eric still sort of believes or sort of practices Lent, and so on Friday I was, hey Eric, guess what I just had? A ham sandwich. Good. Because they're not allowed to eat like meat on Fridays or some shit.
Good shit.
Keep in mind, I mean, if you actually read the Old Testament, all the things you could be put to death for. So let me ask you some questions, Jim. Have you ever eaten milk with your meat? You know, like a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Have you ever touched a pig carcass?
Oh yeah.
Death. Have you ever eaten pig?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jim, you're sorry. I have to kill you now.
See, that's the way it works. Because China cracks down on funeral strippers hired to entertain mourners, attract larger crowds.
I want a funeral stripper.
I do too.
Does it have to be my funeral?
I don't care. We just put them at all funerals from here on out.
Can also have funeral death metal bands.
Good. We'll do that.
And here to perform at the funeral while you guys are mourning Cannibal Corpse. This song is about eating a corpse. Oh, too soon?
Chinese authorities are cracking down on the practice of hiring strippers as funeral entertainment, a technique some rural families use to increase the turnout of a loved one's final farewell.
I don't get fucking funerals and turnouts of farewell and things like that.
The country's Ministry of Culture said late last month that it would be targeting striptease and other obscene, pornographic, and vulgar performances at funerals and other gatherings across Henan, Anhui, Zhongshan, Hebei provinces.
I wonder if Stephen Hawking's funeral had funeral strippers.
That'd be awesome.
Mind you, the first thing I thought when I heard Stephen Hawking died was, why don't you just press Control Delete and try to reboot him?
Exactly. It has urged witnesses to call a special hotline to report any performances.
Yeah, right. Like people are gonna perform. Well, they probably will. The fucking busybodies.
Yeah, with rewards on offer for informants. See, that's why we're going to fucking pay you. According to the state-run Global Times newspaper.
You know, people aren't fun.
The crowd has pushed the climax, roaring with laughter, whistling, applauding, and cursing. State media said, "Good.
That's what I want my funeral. I don't want. If you cry at my funeral, my ghost's gonna come haunt your ass.
Fine, you're gonna cry for a little bit anyway, but then you're gonna laugh, and then you're gonna get head.
No, you you know why they'd be crying, right, Jim? I get to finally piss on his grave.
Exactly. As performers saunter into the audience to jiggle their breasts and rub men's crotches, a reminder of no photographs allowed can occasionally be heard.
No photograph allowed.
Hiring entertainment for funerals is a long-standing practice in rural China, as ensuring a high number of mourners attend the ceremony is a way of showing respect for the dead. That's great.
Whereas I don't even remember who did, some Mexican comedian, but he was saying that the reason the Mexicans cry at funerals is because they ran out of food, which is
Oh.
right. Which is why wouldn't you cry at a funeral? It's not fair. Yeah, he was so young. I don't care about that. They ran out of shrimp.
Chinese rural households are more inclined to show off their disposable incomes by paying out several times their annual income for actors, singers, comedians, and most recently strippers to comfort the bereaved and entertain the mourners.
Yeah, well, I I need some fucking entertainment. The two funerals I've been to in the past 4 years were boring as fuck.
Mhm. Strippers are also sometimes hired for weddings and temple fairs. I like this practice already.
Hey, for funerals, I want to hire like assassins, basically like a mass funeral, but there's only one coffin. Just some guy just comes in and starts shooting up the fucking funeral. Now there's 20.
There we go. An expert quote in the newspaper partially attributed the practice of hiring exotic dancers to fertility worship, as the erotic elements at funerals convey the deceased wishes to be blessed with many children.
He's blessed with many. Get
according,
pregnant now.
according to the interpretation of cultural anthropology, the fet is originated from the worship of reproduction, another media expert said.
I worship reproduction. That's why I cheat. Just
Therefore, erotic performance is just at a funeral is just cultural atavism.
atavism. God damn.
Blah.
And I am the one who's been drinking beer all night.
Yeah. This is also not the first time China has tried to stamp out the practice. You're never going to. This is great.
China's no fun.
In 2015, two villages in the provinces of Hebei and Jiangsu made headlines with viral photos of strippers at funerals inviting grieving men to come on stage and undress them.
Come on down and undress the women. Come for the casket, stay for the sluts. You can even fuck in the coffin if you're willing to stand the smell.
Woohoo! Only down in Hellfire Ranch. Yeehaw!
I don't know why Chinese have a southern accent, but
Yeah, it just happened. Seniors and children are seen standing nearby watching attentively.
come
Yeah.
here, Tommy. Come here, little Tommy. You wanna undress the women? You can undress the women. Here. See.
The seniors are like saying, I wish I could get it up. And the children are like, what's this new sensation in my crotch?
See that in your crotch, Tommy? That's called an erection.
The Ministry of Culture also released a similar statement to this report in 2015, describing the hiring of strippers at funerals as uncivilized.
Hey, there's me of a Duckman joke where he goes into the doctor's office. Doctor, I need your help with something. For the last time, Duckman, those are called erections.
The BBC also reported a similar crackdown in 2006, which saw 5 striptease troop leaders detained by authorities.
You know,
Fuck you. You don't have
they're
any.
no fun.
Yeah.
They are no fun at all, aren't they?
Absolutely no fun. I think this is where I just want to end it because I got to get bed eventually.
All right, and we've been doing this for a while. This has been the Swine Brothers Show, episode 140, the tribute to Killjoy. I wonder if there'll be funeral strippers at Killjoy's funeral. He'll probably like him.
That would be awesome.
Yes, if you're listening to this and you're in charge of his funeral, I mean, it's not disrespectful. He'd probably like it.
And, fertility ritual. Come on.
And
it's great, for
make them
any
zombie
kind
strippers.
of Huh?
Make them zombie strippers.
There we go. That makes it even better. Zombie strippers.
This has been the Swine Brothers Show, episode 140, the Zombie Stripper Comedy Hour for the 19th of March, 2018. You can email us at cosmicgodsdie@gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers and Twitter is SwineBros666. For the gym, I am the Zombie Stripper Comedy Hour host, Ellie Lindewood. We'll see you next time, folks.
It's unicorn semen ice cream. Get it while it's hot.